Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today from McFarlane Toys in their DC Multiverse line, we have Batman. But this is just not an ordinary Batman. This is Batman as he's portrayed in the comic book Superman Speeding Bullets. Alright, so I'm going to come clean on this one. I know absolutely nothing about Batman from Superman Speeding Bullets. And I did a little bit of homework before I reviewed this figure, and I'm so embarrassed and ashamed. I should really know who this guy is because, from my understanding, Superman Speeding Bullets, it was an Elseworlds title from, I think, 1993. And I've been reading comic books religiously throughout my entire life, and that period of time, I was like reading everything, and I have no idea why I did not read that book. So if you're unfamiliar with the DC Elseworlds, it's almost kind of like way back in the day during the 90s, it was kind of like DC's equivalent of Marvel's What If. They would take a lot of the iconic superheroes like Batman and Superman, Wonder Woman, and they'd throw them into these alternate timelines and realities, kind of giving you stories of what these characters would be like in like certain alternate universes. One very popular version of Batman from the Elseworlds comic books was Batman Gotham by Gaslight. I think that was illustrated by Mike Mignola, I think. And that was a very popular version of Batman because it took Batman and placed him kind of like in the Victorian Jack the Ripper era. And, that Elseworlds series was very popular, for such a long time. But for whatever reason, I did not read Superman Speeding Bullets. And then when I saw this figure initially online, I'm like, I don't know what this is. I thought maybe it was like a death metal version of Batman. But then when I did my homework, I'm like, oh my god, why, how come I don't know this dude? I should really know who this guy is. But, it's a very popular character, especially with older comic book fans. And it's amazing that McFarlane's diving and giving us these really deep cuts, giving us versions of characters that are well below mainstream, radar. So if you're a fan of Batman and if you're really deep into the comic books, this guy is probably something you're very excited for. All right, so with that being said, let's move forward with the review. I love the color choice. Now, if they ever gave me the perfect, like, Neil Adams Batman in the gray and the blue and the yellow, I would love for it to have these colors. This blue is like perfect for any like blue costumed Batman. The gray is a little bit on the darker side, but I could kind of forgive that. But overall, this figure looks fantastic. It's really nice. You get an extra pair of hands, and it looks like you get a flight stand as well, which is nice. So from my understanding, correct me in the comments down below if I'm wrong, but from what I gather, Superman Speeding Bullets, I think the story is about Clark Kent if he was raised in Gotham by Thomas and Martha Kent. So traditionally, Superman grew up on a farm. He crashed in Smallville, was raised by John and Martha Kent, and, he became our Superman. But in Superman Speeding Bullets, it's a different story. Clark Kent, is raised by the Waynes, by Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne in Gotham. So it's kind of a very unique take on the character. It's kind of if you combine Batman's origin with Superman's origin. And off topic, if you're into like the alternate realities, one comic book I'm so fond of is Superman Red Sun. That's an amazing Elseworlds alternate Superman storyline, and if you're into that kind of stuff, check that out. Superman Red Sun. I can't recommend that enough. One of my favorite books of all time. Alright, so enough about the comic book talk. Let's talk about some comic book action figures. And this guy's triple taped. So generally, most McFarlane figures, they're only taped once at the bottom. This guy's taped in 3 different points, which surprises me. I was so disappointed in myself when I didn't realize what this figure was. You know, I kind of felt like I had to like turn in my like nerd card, and I'd lose all my like geek cred. Because I really pride myself on the fact that I've been reading comic books for like ever. I have like this gigantic collection of physical comic books. Like it's, I have more physical comic books than some like comic book shops, which is, I mean, it in terms of being a dork and a nerd, I'm kind of proud of that. But at the same time, I think it's one of those weird things that's going to come to haunt me in the future. Which might also explain why I'm very single too. I have too much like pop culture collectibles in my life. All right, so you get the trading card, the really cool flight stand, which is awesome. I dig that a lot. But man, I'm really loving the shade of blue on this figure. And this figure is so nice. Like, I really like picture that if they gave me like the perfect Neil Adams Batman, this is the body I think I'd want. It's not too muscular, it's just right. You know, he's lean where he needs to be lean. He looks more athletic than like chonky, because every now and then you get Batman figures where he just looks very thick. This one looks nice though. I love the mask design without the mouth. It looks pretty cool. Very clean sculpting overall. Very solid utility belt. The boot designs look very 90 like. So this is like a design you'd see in the 90s. In the 90s, for whatever reason, artists always felt a need to like give everything metal straps. So it kind of has these metal bands around the boots. The cape, it's flexible, but it feels a little thick in some areas, especially on this side where the cape kind of folds over itself. Nice texture though. And the folds are very realistic. I dig that. Alright, let's get Batman out of his little plastic prison. Alright, so I'm going to leave the spare hands in the tray. You get two of them. They're both fist hands, I believe. So it's nice that they give us those options. Okay, we have Batman from Superman Speeding Bullets. Alright, this is one of those figures that every time I'm like handling them, there's something on here that's like poking or jabbing me. His horns, they're very pointy and stabby. Likewise, his fins are very pointy and stabby. His fingers are very pointy and stabby. But it's nice though. I'd rather have them be pointy and stabby than be kind of like, you know, kind of mushy or, you know, cut kind of like sloppily. This dude stands in at about, I'm going to say, under 7 inches. And I'd be wrong. He stands at 7 1/4. Size comparison, here he is next to my one of my favorite McFarlane figures, the McFarlane Batman. This is an older figure, and the older figures are slightly larger, as you can see. So there's a difference in the proportions of the figure. Beautiful sculpting. Love the cape. It's really nice. The head's awesome. It's kind of weird because even though you don't see his face and just the eyes, you get the impression that if you know, pose him in the right way, set him under the right light, you could kind of like create like a certain aura or like personality about him. You know, there's something kind of ominous about this guy. You know, you look at him, and even though you don't see his pupils, you could definitely tell that there's something going on in his head. I love the kind of amalgamation of the logo with the Superman diamond, but with the Batman bat. It looks kind of wild. He has some ribbing and trim along his sleeves and his legs. It looks like his trunks are a slightly darker shade of gray than his body, but not by much. And my camera does not want to focus on the sky. I don't know what it is. It might be the yellow. Now let's see if I can color correct that. And that's a little bit better. The ab cut here, it's a kind of a little bit sloppy. You know, they try to kind of conform it to the muscles, but I'd prefer it if they just cut it clean with a clean arc, as opposed to like, you know, giving us this kind of like bumpy, jaggedy kind of deal. A little bit sloppy on the paint on mine for the utility belt, kind of oversprayed onto his trunks. These almost look like Spawn hands. I could be wrong though, but it seems like these might have been taken from a Spawn action figure, I think. These fingers. And yeah, for whatever reason, this guy does not want to focus with my camera. At least when I bring him up close. But it's really cool. I can see why this is a very popular figure on Amazon. If you look this guy up on Amazon, he's gotten a lot of positive reviews. And me being the poser that I am, I did not know this guy was from like an old comic book from the 90s. Alright, so let's examine articulation. His head rotates. Does he look down? He looks down. Does he look up? Looks up pretty decent. Arms rotate and they hit the cape. They go out. Biceps swivel. Double pinned elbows. Nicely articulated wrists. And the fingers, like I said, they're very pointy and sharp, so just be careful there. Some of the plastic on mine isn't cut very cleanly. You know, like there's some excess flash on the joint right there. I've noticed this on other parts of them. It seems like at the factory, like some of the plastic isn't as clean as it should be where it's cut. He has a cut mid-torso, swivels at the waist. Legs kick up, they kick out. Double pinned knees, ankles, it's all there. Very stock, very standard for McFarlane figure. This figure feels more Spawn-like, especially with the hands. You know, he has the pointed, like Spawn-like fingers. And Spawn's kind of like very Batman in design to begin with, so that looks cool. I like this guy. I think if like I was a criminal, I think I'd be more scared of visually this Batman than the standard Batman. I think it's scarier when you don't see his mouth, because you don't know what the hell he's thinking. You know, you can just see the whites of his eyes. So yeah, overall, really fun figure, really cool. On a scale of 1 to 10, for me, even though I'm naive to the character, I'm gonna say a solid 8.5 to a 9. It might be a little bit too generous, but it's nice. You know, I think it's a great looking figure. Even though I don't know this dude, it's nice. But like I said, some of the plastic here on my figure, it's not that clean. Like you can see the excess flash under there. Parts of the cape don't look as clean cut as it should be. But that just might be my copy. You know, for all I know, your version might be a lot better than mine. All right, so let's wrap this one up. Great figure. Love this guy. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So, until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.